In the kingdom of Highland, fairies live freely until humans betrayed them. Once a fairy has been stripped of a wing, whoever possesses it holds the fairy life in their hand. Taking advantage of this, human enslaved fairies. But 15-year-old Ann Halford longs to the day when fairies and humans are treated as equal. The aspiring confectioner dreams of becoming a silver sugar master just like her late mother. In order to achieve this lofty goal, Anne sets out for the capital of Lewiston, home to the annual Royal Candy Fair. However, to be bestowed the exclusive title, Anne's confection craft from silver sugar must be recognized with a royal medal at the event. Anne hires a sharp-tongued warrior fairy, Shall Fen Shall, to be her bodyguard for the perilous journey ahead. After saving him from his cruel fairy trader, she promised to return Shall's wing to him once they reach the capital, much to his confusion. But as the pair travel further along, the time they spend together grows, and they learn more about each other and their desires. This anime has about 12 episodes, premiered January 6th to March 24th of 2023. Does have a part 2, based off a light novel. It is adventure, drama, fantasy, romance. Themes are visual arts. Each episode is 20 minutes and is rated PG-13. Let's get started into the review. We are back with another anime review, and here we have our main protagonist, one who wants to become a sugar confectioner like her mother, Anne. And she is very sweet because she doesn't like how the fairies are treated in this series, which I can agree with her. No one should be, no creature should have something taken away from them, and that very essence of what makes them free, particularly the fairy's wings, should be a slave. Also, I think automatically when I watch this series, it is stunning. Like, it's visually stunning. The mix of the bright colors and certain backgrounds gives me a feel of more like watercolors. And not just that, besides Anne herself, and then we have the famous sharp song Shall Fen Shall, who is a very interesting fairy, mind you. He's very witty and knows how to fluster our main character, our main protagonist, and get under her skin, which I love. And what I really like about this anime in particular is because not just for the fantasy element of it, a fantasy romance, which these days in most anime are very predictable, and not just the story, not just the female lead, the male lead, forget the goal. And I think overall, like, it's beautiful of the confection that Anne creates when you see her build her confections in the competition that she wants to become this sweet master like her mother was. I think, from this series being a reminds you of candy basically. It can be sweet some instances and some scenes, salty and bitter, leaving like a familiar taste in your mouth. That's how I perceive it. And like the fairy's eyes, look how stunning his eye look when he gets in like the battle mode. Like, that is stunning. Like, I love how his eyes changes from one form to another when he's triggered to do his so-called duty, because she hired him to be a bodyguard, and trust me, she needs a bodyguard in this moment in time. For most of the time, the story is fine, the plot is interesting. The animation is amazing. I think, considering the little action that is thrown in there, I think it's very smooth. And then also tends to focus way more on the romance and the confectionery with a lot more dialogue to begin, which is totally fine. I'm more intrigued with the confectionery to see what these characters come up with. And also the other side characters, the supporting cast, the characters are good. Each character has a central like anime trope that they follow. It's pretty obvious, but they aren't bland to say the least. They're very interesting. They manage to capture your attention when they are on screen. The only problem I do have, I think, is with the main characters. Like, nothing that's too bad. And I think always everything's being like dragged out or dragged about by the story, and it leaves somewhat of a quite unfilling story. And by the end of the anime, we are leave with the biggest cliffhanger of all, until you get to part 2, which will make sense once you watch from part 1 to part 2 of this series, which I am thoroughly going to be watching part 2. And at the time of the recording of this anime, I'm recording this on January 5th, 2024, and this anime is not going to come out, review is not going to come out until like around March. So by the time this review comes out, probably have already watched season 2, which I can't see how season 1 will take us from the epic cliffhanger to season 2 to see how well these two from different backgrounds, a human and a fairy, will come together. And I mean, like, come together, I mean, like, will they fall in love? Will they not? Will she end up keeping her promise to return Fei Xiao Wing to him, and him no longer being a slave to humans? And will she get her wish of finally seeing humans and fairies be treated equally, instead of them being on two different sides of a war that the fairies often loses? But definitely check out Sugar Isle Fairy Tale if you haven't already. Let me think down in the comment below, and I'll see you soon for the anime review. Until then, bye.